anime fights. Definitely one of the draws into the medium altogether, but alas, there's always a problem. Some anime fights are garbage. This is the video for you if you have that exact same problem as well. Here is the 5 early signs of a garbage anime fight within a week of my last 5 early signs video, because you actually completed the challenge I've given you in liking the video, which is a little bit terrifying. On my first one, I asked for 15k likes because that's around the ballpark I was hoping for if we pushed, and I got around 15k likes. On the second one, I was like, I don't want to make another video within a week, so I'll up the ante, 20k likes. And then blammo, within a day you give me 30k likes. Absolutely terrifying, and being that I don't want to take the L on this one and just stop giving you that option, we're gonna continue to up the ante. 25k likes, damn it! And I will upload 5 early signs of a garbage waifu within the week. You're killing me here, fanbase, but this is a war of attrition that I will prevail. But alas, here is sign number 1 of a garbage anime fight. Now, before the fight begins, we must understand that we can extract what we want from the battle purely by the prep work alone. Before an anime fight, there are several things that can happen. You know, epic strategies, past times that the protagonist clashed with the villain that he's about to face, all that stuff. The prep work must be good. And when I say good, I mean it has to follow these very distinct guidelines, or else it has no chance of being a good anime fight. For example, if the main character is about to fight a villain, obviously he had to face that villain in the past or something along those lines, or else you wouldn't have that emotional wham when the main character actually wins. And in that previous fight, it's ideal if the villain defeats the main character and he's like, you're on the ground with no power and I can easily kill you now. But instead, I will not do that because I want you to suffer until you die. Or because you pose so little threat to me, it's not even worth my time to kill you. Or I will not kill you and I coincidentally will tell you my entire evil plan because there's no chance my plan can fail and I am far too strong. So that's all amazing stuff. We always want a main villain to defeat the good guy and make sure not to kill him, because if he would kill him, that would be the end of the show. So we want it to be defeated, find the reason why the bad guy did not kill him, so the good guy can come back and have an actual reason to fight. Absolutely. We all love it when that happens. Luffy fights Crocodile the first time, gets annihilated. Luffy fights Crocodile the second time, gets annihilated. The third time, Luffy figured out how to beat him. Very cool, because he was already beat 2 times in the past where he should have died. I mean, where Crocodile brilliantly decided to let him survive in order to make the final fight way cooler. So an early sign of a bad anime fight is A, the villain actually kills the main character before the fight even starts, in which case, well, not much of a fight. Or B, there was never a point where the villain was able to kill the main character and then decided not to because it wouldn't be worth his time. But that's not it in regard to prep work. There's a lot of prep work that's very important to lay down before a fight. For example, weapons, armor, and strategy. So, in the weapons and armor department, rule number 1, less armor equals better armor. As we know, Urza gets into many fights, and her greatest armor is the one that's literally mummy wrap covering 1/10 of her body. Or Kill a Kill. Suspenders are literally the best armor. Every attack gets blocked by this tremendous armor because less armor is the best armor, because #feminism. So if there's an anime woman about to get into a fight and she's wearing actual clothes, you know there's a problem. You know this is not where you want to be going. Unless, of course, the first attack of the opponent, by accident, of course, blows off all those clothes. But if not, there's an issue. And in the strategy department, well, that's an entirely different ballgame. There are many reasons why I ended up getting into anime, and one of them probably was because the strategies in anime are far more complex than many of the other strategies in other media that I actually enjoy. You have Death Note, you have Code Geass, and they're great because of the strategies, but are the fights really that great? Well, no! And that's why the greatest anime fights are only the ones without strategy whatsoever. I mean, let's say the enemy villain is a group, like that ever happens, and there's the one main guy in the group and his 4 cronies. Of course, there's an equal amount of cronies to the amount of guys in the good guys group, but more on that another day. In fact, I talked about it recently in my 5 early signs of a crappy villain video, which, might I remind you, got 30k likes in a day. You want to work me to the bone, don't you? I mean, I'm flattered and all, but damn. That's why Nux Taku versus the fanbase is my favorite fight in anime. It's literally a win-win, where the only lose aspect is my sleep schedule. But more on that another time. 25k likes on this guy, and the next one's out within a week. Remember, fam. But I don't think you're all that powerful this time. Back to strategy. Strategy's dope. But when there's the 5 cronies and the 1 main villain guy, we want to be sure that every good guy is paired up against either the exact villain that's super effective on them or the exact villain that they're super effective against. But even more importantly, it has to be by luck. It's not like, okay, so the villain has a fire type and a water type. We're gonna attack the fire type with a water type and the water type with an electric type. No, none of that strategizing BS over there. Luffy's gonna fight Enel and watch the chances. Enel's lightning attacks does not affect rubber. What? Because if that would have been thought out and they would have gone that route, it would have been so much more predictable. And we hate predictable anime fights. Like, for example, when people call out their attack moves before they use it. Or, for example, when it's a sword versus a gun, because the sword's always gonna win. Predictability, not the strong suit of anime. But that is why we love when they don't use strategy, because if they strategically place their forces to be super effective on the opponents, well, then we know that they're gonna be super effective on the opponents. It's so much better when it's purely down to dumb luck that the good guys win, right? In Fairy Tail, Larcade, who I'm having real great mileage out of talking about this guy, I'm starting to really like him just due to the fact that I'm clowning on him, has all these epic spells. He's so powerful, in fact, he has the ability to have everyone around him fall so drowsy that if they close their eyes, instant KO death. That is a very broken power. However, he happens to be fighting this guy named Sting. Sting is a light dragon slayer, and therefore, light magic doesn't work on him, and he can eat light magic. So, 99% of Larcade's attacks, which are, what a coincidence, light magic, don't work on him, and he can just eat them and actually get stronger from them. Wow, I'm so glad that wasn't planned out and it was totally by dumb luck. Otherwise, that would have been super predictable and way less intriguing. In the first episode of Fairy Tail, they established that Natsu can eat fire magic to become more powerful. And I was like, yeah, but like, there aren't that many people that are gonna use fire magic. Well, much to my surprise, there's gonna be one fire mage in every arc that's gonna give him some food. And then, of course, we can't forget the epic dialogue. The whole, Nani, you're eating my fire magic? Yes, because I'm actually a fire dragon slayer, and fire magic actually makes me stronger. Oh, okay, I'm gonna hit you with more fire magic. Yeah, Fairy Tail battle is pretty much the pinnacle of awesome. And as a bit of a tip-off, if you're actually dealing with a good anime fight in this regard, if someone says, no one's ever survived blank, or no one can ever defeat my blank, chances are they're going to be up against that one guy that's going to survive blank and defeat blank. So I love when that happens, because when he says no one's going to do it, you're then like, oh my god, no one's gonna ever do it. How is anyone gonna defeat it? But then the surprise comes. Again, avoiding predictability anime. Very cool. This was a long early sign of a garbage fight because it dealt with all of the prep work involved in fights. So now let's get into the meat and potatoes of when the fight actually begins. Here are 4 of the remaining early signs of a garbage anime fight. Sign 1, if there's no flexing, we need the villain to flex on the haters to know exactly how powerful he is. And when I say exactly how powerful, I want stuff like the villain saying, you've only experienced 20% of my power. I want to hear stuff like that, because then you're like, oh my god, he's so strong with only 20%. That's like a fifth of his power. And then it tricks you again, because at the end, when he's like, when I said it was at 100%, I lied. It was actually at only 85% of my power. And Toguro actually did that in Yu Yu Hakusho, which cements him as potentially one of the greatest villains ever. I mean, no one expected his 100% to actually only be 85%. But anyway, we need major flexing. We need the bad guy to let you know exactly how powerful he is before anything begins. And trust me, I know, because I'm actually working on a video right now, the biggest flexes in anime. This is such a good one. Definitely subscribe if you're interested. But recently in Fairy Tail, Urza was fighting her mother, Irene. And Irene is like this powerful witch lady and all that, of course, because she's the mother of the main character. It's just how it works. And Urza uses Gilgamesh's Gate of Babylon attack to shoot many swords at her. And there's this massive smoke cloud. And then there's, you know, the back and forth. Did we get her? No, I think she's too strong to have been defeated by that. Yeah, Wendy, shut the hell up. Anyway, then the smoke clears, and not only did she dodge all of the flying swords at her, but she also had time to rearrange them in the shape of a big flower to completely flex on Urza as to how powerful she is. And then we're like, damn, that woman be strong. strong. Hashtag feminism. Now, I don't want to spend too much time on the flexing, because again, I'm doing a whole video on that. All of the greatest flexes in anime, and they're so funny, but flexing is extremely important. We need the villain to terrify us before it turns out that the good guy can flex on them because of his newfound power that he managed to unlock. Super Zangetsu's Chakra Mode Bijou 4th Saiyan Ultra Bankai 100% plus Ultra Black Demon Isekai Harem Bimbo Sword, or whatever technique he's cooked up recently. But then, what is the next thing to happen immediately after the villain flexes on the good guys? Well, that is the third early sign of a garbage fight. We need a peanut gallery. I mean, when the villain says, I'm only at 20% of my power, we definitely need one of the main character's friends in the audience saying, oh my god, I think he's only at 20% of his power, and then for someone else to confirm that point. Us as viewers can easily miss what goes on screen, being that we only have 2 eyes, and especially shonen anime is ridiculously fast-paced with almost no filler ever. So characters like Brock literally protect anime. I mean, even when you have Ash's Pikachu versus a Rhydon, and ground type is not affected by electric type. In fact, Rhydon even has an ability Lightning Rod, which gives him power if hit by electric type moves due to his horn being the Lightning Rod. However, the anime had a slightly different twist on that because it kinda didn't make any sense how Ash won. Using Pikachu's electric attack to hit the Lightning Rod directly because that's actually Rhydon's secret weakness. And then of course you need to have Brock around to say, I get it, of course! Ash used his Pikachu's electric attack to hit the Lightning Rod, which is Rhydon's weak point. Thanks, Brock. Very cool. Establishing the fact that no rules ever existed at all. Or for example, in the Tournament of Power in Dragon Ball Super, which is the pinnacle of anime fights. I mean, let's be real here. It lasted enough episodes to automatically be good by default. Goku goes into Ultra Instinct mode or whatever, and 2 episodes later, he picks up an arm, which inadvertently flexes his nipple. And then in the stands, immediately, we need the peanut gallery to let us know exactly what transpired. On Goku's side, you'll have Master Roshi explaining to Krillin how, oh my god, as you can see, his nipple lifted 4 inches higher than it did the last time he lifted his arm up, meaning he's constantly getting stronger at an incredible rate. And then Krillin will say, oh my god, Master Roshi, I didn't even notice that. And then of course, we need the bad guy's perspective. So of course, Jiren has a peanut gallery as well, where you can have Topo, the substitute alien Pringle guy, explain, I see that Goku's left nipple has risen by several centimeters far higher than last time, implying he is constantly getting stronger. But never fear, Padawans. Jiren is a far stronger warrior and will not be taken down by such peasantly might. And then Jiren will clench his teeth, and then, we have to go through it again. Master Roshi will be explaining to Krillin how, as you can see by his teeth clench, you get the point. We are merely human beings. Our mind does not work fast enough to understand exactly everything that goes on screen. That's why it's so crucial. That is why it's so important for Yugi to have his friends watch his duel. Not only for the power of friendship, not only for the thematic importance of Tristan's voice, but for the fact that they're all completely daft losers that know nothing about the Yu-Gi-Oh game, but still make believe they're commentators, which is so damn cool. Because you see, the Peanuts Gallery has 2 very decisive purposes. A, to let you know what's going on screen, because obviously there's no way you'd understand. B, they understand absolutely nothing, just like you, of course. So Yugi, or whichever de facto protagonist I'm talking about, can explain it to them, being that they're stupid, and we, the audience, are also stupid. So he can actually be explaining it to us. Like, for example, Yugi uses Pot of Greed.
Activate Pot of Greed!
And then Tristan will say,
I've heard of Pot of Greed before, but what does it do?
And Yugi will explain
It allows me to draw 2 cards from my deck.
And then, of course, Taya in the audience will say, but there's still no way for Yugi to defeat his opponent. And then Yugi can say,
And that's where you're wrong.
because I also have these 40 other cards that were secretly in my hand that I'm now going to combo all together to summon a million monsters, giving me a ton of attack points with all of them. And then Joey in the stands will say, I knew it. You'd figured out how to give all his monsters a million attack points. And then Yugi will win. Far more interactive this way, isn't it? Far too accurate this way, isn't it? Because if it wasn't for Yugi explaining how that one little Pot of Greed card does in the correct manner, it would have thrown us all off, because literally all the other cards he uses, he was cheating with. I mean, he wasn't tribute summoning. He had more than 5 monsters on the field fighting Marek. He fused Mammoth Graveyard yard with freaking Kaiba's dragon to let it melt. He broke the moon and let it fall down to kill all of Mako Tsunami's monsters. He destroyed the flotation ring of a flying castle to have it fall and crush Panic's monsters. And then he'll explain what Pot of Greed does to us. Thank you. Finally, some clarity in this card game. For the fourth early side of a garbage fight, this is rare, thankfully, but what if you'd have an anime fight without a gratuitous amount of flashbacks before, after, and everything in between to let you know exactly how much this means to the main character? Honestly, I don't even want to think about it. It's too sad. This is not generally a problem anime run into because there's usually an emphasis on flashbacks, being that they could just use scenes from previous episodes and not need to pay for animators, take up more time, and stretch the anime a little longer, so they have incentive to keep the flashbacks. And thankfully they do a wonderful job with that. The fourth early sign of a garbage anime fight is if there's no flashbacks and there's an actual fight. And there's only a fight without the soul. Because as we know, only garbage fights like to tell full narrative stories just from the fights themselves. Like, for example, Taku versus Bakugo. It had an emotional punch. It felt like so much, but imagine how good it would have been if every single jump would have also had a flashback attached to that jump. We will never, unfortunately, know. Being that Larcade is one of the greatest anime villains of all time from Fairy Tail, I'll mention him again. He was fighting Sting, Rogue, and Kagura, and then Minerva is coming from the distance to support them. She, of course, shows up after Larcade is already defeated, and then she sees Kagura. I understand these names may mean nothing to you, and that doesn't really matter, because this is the point. She remembers when she fought Kagura in the past. So let's flash back to this entire fight scene completely out of nowhere when, yes, Minerva used to actually fight Kagura in a tournament where they were supposed to be fighting, and she was cruel. And the story extends to the point that it shows how Minerva was cruel in other ways that has no relevance here whatsoever. Oh, she was torturing Catwoman in the past, so she was evil. That doesn't even have anything to do with Kagura anymore, but you know what? Thank God for the flashbacks. Because if not for all of that, how would we know that when Minerva says, "I'm sorry I was mean to you in the past, I have moved on from that now"? Well, that little 2 sentences would have meant so much less without that 5-minute flashback sequence letting us know exactly what she's apologizing about and exactly what the apology accepted was referring to as well. I love it when every single punch gets interrupted with a flashback scene of a crying baby. Aside from watching babies crying, which is one of any otaku's favorite pastimes, we do it so often, we also have the ability to delude ourselves into thinking we're actually intellectual, saying, "Ah, yes, you see this fight with all the wonderfully flashy animation and the epic battles? I like it because of the thematic relevance of this main character coincidentally bumping into his evil father that's taking over the world and defeating him. And I like how he remembers all of the past trauma he feels in every single swing, and I like how the anime reminds us every 3 minutes that in fact he had a crappy childhood in case we would forget that point. Lee vs. Gaara is unanimously considered one of the greatest anime fights of all time, and I would go as far as to say it's probably in my top 10. Why, you ask? Is it because of the brilliant themes? Is it because of the incredible choreography and the way the different characters' lives meet at this one central point? I can literally talk about this for hours, but it's the flashbacks, damn it. I want to see every time Lee's ever done a push-up take place in this fight. I wanted the fight to be 1 hour long with the brilliance of the peanut gallery, the wonderful flashbacks, the epic flexing of Gaara being the only ninja to ever get through the forest of death that quickly with no scrapes. And I accidentally seem to have unironically shown how these 3 signs of a garbage anime fight are actually used for a dope anime fight. So that's pretty cool. But it's when they're overused to the point of memedom that makes them special. Every time Soma gives a judge a bowl of food, I want that judge to remember the childhood where he was saved by Noodles and Noodles means so much to him, or how the female judge was tentacle groped as a child and this reminds her of her amazing experience. Okay, I don't remember that one exactly happening, but you get the metaphor. If an anime would be 99% flashbacks and only 1% action, hell yeah, I'd be all over that. It would way defeat most shonen anime, which are only 96% flashbacks and 4% fights. I lied. It's actually 96% flashbacks, 2% fights, and 2% recaps of the fight, meaning essentially you're seeing the same fight twice twice, but you're only seeing the flashbacks once. That was also a lie. Most of the time, the same flashbacks you see have actually also been flashbacks in the past. So, in actuality, it's flashbackception. We're not even flashing back to the original moment. We're flashing back to the point where they were flashing back about the moment. That is how epic anime is. This is why anime is one of the greatest mediums of all time. Figuring out ways to spend time in useless ways that mean so much. And that is finally bringing me to my fifth and final sign of a garbage anime fight. And that is when the main character stands a chance. Do you want to see the main character actually stand a chance against his opponent? I didn't think so. We want the main character to have so little chance, it's unthinkable that he'll win, and then he'll win. That's what I'm hoping for. Goku gets into a fight, and there's a chance he's actually gonna be victorious. Well, if there's a chance he's gonna win, that completely negates all those times where there was no chance he was gonna win, got another form, and then won. When Goku gets into a fight, we want to make sure there's an absolutely 0% chance he's gonna win. Because not only is the opponent extremely powerful, but also there's no form above where he is. Until they came up with Super Saiyan 3, that is. Or until they came up, there's this also Super Saiyan God thing. Or, you can go Super Saiyan in Super Saiyan God. And there's also Ultra Instinct where you just like glow and shiz, and that's it. Yeah, these were all fights where he had no chances of winning. Madara's dropping meteors and whatever. He's become the 10 Tails Jinchuriki. Naruto stands no chance. He still only does Shadow Clones and Rasengan. Oh, but actually, he was secretly the reincarnation of the Sage of Six Paths son, and now you have all this crazy yin-yang chakra-style garbage that you can throw at your opponent to win. Now that's what I'm talking about. If Naruto would have stood a chance from the beginning, well then, that's way less of an unpredictable win than when he had no chance and then all of a sudden got plot BS to save the day. I mean, some of you may be arguing, Nux, I think you got this one a little bit wrong. I think this is actually one of the signs of a good anime fight, when there's a chance that they're gonna win and then it's gonna be a close match and we don't know where it's gonna go. The main character's gonna have to outthink the opponent and then grasp victory from some form of standpoint that was previously established. I don't know, like in Hunter x Hunter. Nen allows you to make conditions, so we can eventually make a condition to overpower your opponent. That's why Gon versus Pito is amazing. And I can understand why you may be trying to say all of that, but no, I got this 100% right. Jotaro versus Dio, best fight in anime. Why? First of all, Dio is there, and second of all, look again at reason 1. Dio versus Jotaro. Jotaro learned that he, actually could stop time in middle of his fight against the final opponent. That's what I'm talking about. There was no chance he had to win with Star Platinum, unless Star Platinum could also stop time, in which case, he actually had the chance to grab victory, and yes, if it happened in JoJo's, that means it's amazing, and technically, anything that ever came before or after that fight with Dio somehow is a JoJo reference, immediately placing it at the top of the game. The fifth and final early sign of a garbage anime fight is if the main character actually has a chance. We want there to be no chance so we can accidentally draw Exodia halfway through the game. Whammon and gentle whammon, I hope you enjoyed this very informative educational video, allowing you in the future to pick up on the 5 early signs of a garbage anime fight. Once again, if this hits 25,000 likes, the next 5 early signs video will be out within the week. But fan base, I have the most mixed feelings ever about getting likes on this video, so if you decide to not like, I literally will not cry. But I will also not give in and decide, oh well, this game is over. No more giving you incentives to make new videos faster. No, this is a fight between me and the fan base. I will be incrementally increasing the like ratio in all of these 5 early signs videos by 5,000 views. And until that point, I will not give up in this. The next one will come out within a week bit, essentially forcing me to remain ever enslaved to the YouTube and the fan base, as if that wasn't existing already. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a like and subscribe for future anime analysis or satire content. This is actually secretly both. I'm satirically making fun of points, but also low-key making some dope ones if you can see beneath the surface of the epicness of Lord Nuxanor. Link in the description to my Twitter, feel free to follow me there, as well as the link to my Patreon. Please help me out, it would be really dope. Demonetization is unfortunately a thing. I decided I didn't want to shout out patrons on videos longer than 20 minutes because that becomes rough for the viewers, so I will do that next time, even though I really do appreciate all of you. Have yourselves the most wonderful evening, and remember to stay weird, fam.